A rising wave of unexpected attention has formed around a young British vocalist, whose holiday performance is quietly becoming one of the season's most discussed releases. As coverage of annual holiday music tends to spotlight major industry figures, it has been notable to observe a significant shift in public interest toward 20-year-old singer Lucy Thomas. Early in December, her latest Christmas release began circulating widely across social platforms, prompting analysts and industry observers to examine why a relatively independent artist has generated such remarkable engagement. Thomas, who first appeared on the public radar during her participation in The Voice Kids UK, has spent the last several years cultivating a dedicated global audience through consistent studio releases and digital performances. Her approach, focusing on vocal purity, emotional interpretation, and restrained production, has stood out in a market often dominated by high-energy or heavily produced holiday tracks. Reports across viewer forums suggest that her newest Christmas recording, praised for its sincerity and clarity, has resonated with listeners seeking a calmer, more reflective seasonal sound. This shift may signal a broader trend in which audiences gravitate toward understated, emotion-driven performances during the holiday period. With online engagement rising by the day, music outlets are monitoring whether the continued momentum could place her among the most influential holiday voices of the year. While many artists fade after early talent show exposure, Lucy Thomas has taken a markedly different path, one that industry reporters now describe as a slow-burn success story. Thomas' introduction to the public eye occurred when she was only 14, competing on The Voice Kids UK, where her clear tone and emotional delivery earned strong praise despite her not advancing to the final stage. After the show, she signed with a developing label Imprint and began producing studio albums that combined classical crossover, contemporary ballads, and theatrical melodies. Each release gradually built a larger base of international listeners, an uncommon trajectory for contestants whose careers often stall after their initial televised appearance. Over the years, analysts observed that her ability to maintain consistent quality and the absence of high-profile controversies helped position her as a reliable figure within the vocal performance niche. Her YouTube presence, marked by steady growth rather than viral spikes, has become a case study for digital longevity. Thomas' holiday recordings in particular have performed strongly each December, indicating that she has established a recurring seasonal audience. Media commentators note that her gradual rise stands in contrast to the rapid burst growth typical of social media-driven artists. This pattern suggests that her appeal may be rooted in durability rather than trend cycles, an attribute that can play a significant role in holiday music relevance, where familiarity and emotional trust heavily influence listener choices. Industry analysts have begun noting that Lucy Thomas' vocal tone aligns strikingly well with a growing public preference for calm, emotionally transparent holiday music. Recent surveys on seasonal music consumption show a shift toward recordings that emphasize warmth, clarity, and emotional sincerity, contrasting with the upbeat pop-driven releases that historically dominate holiday playlists. Experts attribute this shift to listeners seeking comfort-oriented content, especially during winter months. Thomas' voice, light, controlled, and notably expressive, fits this emerging demand with unusual precision. Reporters covering digital platform performance have pointed out that her interpretations avoid excessive ornamentation, instead highlighting lyrical intention and tonal stability. This approach has resulted in her recordings being described as intimate and soothing, characteristics that correlate strongly with high listener retention on music streaming platforms. Commentary from vocal specialists further indicates that her technique lends itself to traditional carols and nostalgic standards, which rely heavily on emotional conveyance rather than spectacle. As broadcasters continue monitoring the evolving trends in seasonal music, Thomas appears to occupy a unique position in the current landscape. She delivers a sound that feels contemporary in production quality, yet classical in sentiment, a combination that resonates with modern audiences seeking authenticity. This alignment may explain why her recent Christmas release is outperforming predictions and receiving broader press attention than in previous years. Among the numerous new holiday recordings released this season, one interpretation of White Christmas has become a focal point for unexpected media coverage. Lucy Thomas' rendition of White Christmas has emerged as a standout entry in this year's holiday music cycle, drawing commentary from journalists who rarely report on individual cover versions. What sets this performance apart, according to early reviews, is its restrained arrangement, precise phrasing, and emotional clarity, features that have captured the attention of both casual listeners and vocal performance analysts. Initial audience responses highlighted the recording's atmospheric tone, describing it as reflective and understated, qualities that have helped it spread rapidly across personal playlists and social platforms. Reporters covering digital analytics observed a sustained increase in engagement rather than a short-term spike, suggesting that the track's appeal may be rooted in long-term seasonal relevance instead of novelty. Additionally, the timing of the release, early enough to gain traction before the peak holiday window, has contributed to its steady rise. Some industry watchers note that Thomas' version appeals to multi-generational listeners, a demographic range that few emerging artists are able to capture simultaneously. While White Christmas is one of the most frequently covered songs in history, this recording has carved out a distinct place in the current market, prompting further investigation into Thomas' broader holiday music strategy. Another development drawing renewed attention to Lucy Thomas' seasonal catalog is the resurgence of her earlier duet of Silent Night with her younger sister. Though released previously, the duet has resurfaced across viewer feeds and share-based platforms, gaining new traction as listeners revisit holiday classics. News outlets analyzing digital music behavior report that family-based collaborations often draw heightened emotional engagement, and this recording appears to follow that trend. The blending of the sisters' voices has been described as notably cohesive, with commentators praising the clarity of their harmonization and the simplicity of the production. The duet has also been the subject of numerous reaction discussions, where audiences note its calming atmosphere and understated emotional impact. As holiday playlists shift toward comfort-themed selections, the renewed attention to this track has benefited Thomas' overall seasonal visibility. Analysts have suggested that such duets help establish a sense of authenticity, an increasingly valued characteristic in a crowded online music environment. Furthermore, the track's reappearance in circulation has encouraged new listeners to explore Thomas' updated releases, including her latest Christmas performance. Coverage indicates that this relationship between older and newer recordings may be playing a strategic role in the expansion of her holiday presence across digital platforms. One of the key stories developing around Lucy Thomas this month is the anticipation surrounding her upcoming holiday livestream concert. Scheduled for mid-December, the livestream has drawn interest from both dedicated followers and new viewers who discovered her through recent seasonal releases. Media analysts tracking digital events indicate that livestream performances have become a significant factor in artist-audience connection, particularly during holiday months when viewers seek shared experiences. Thomas' event is expected to feature a combination of traditional carols and contemporary arrangements, reflecting her established approach to blending familiarity with modern vocal interpretation. Reports suggest that ticket engagement has been steady, signaling that her growing seasonal influence may extend beyond pre-recorded content. The concert serves as a milestone in her career, positioning her alongside emerging artists who are redefining how holiday programming is delivered to audiences worldwide. Industry observers are watching closely to determine whether this event will solidify her status as a notable seasonal performer. As attention around her Christmas releases continues to rise, the livestream may function as a catalyst for expanding her presence across broadcast outlets, music publications, and year-end coverage. The coming weeks will reveal whether Thomas' momentum translates into a more permanent placement within the holiday music landscape.